We have our first guest of the day, and you guys know him on the NFL Network, NFL analyst and founder of the NFL Podcast Network, Dave Dameshek. What's going on, Dave?
Hey, what's happening, man? I'm the founder of the podcast network. I'll take it. I don't know if I deserve it, but I'll
Look at
take
that,
it
Speedy.
anyway. It's fine.
Well, you're one of the founders. How's that sound?
Right, exactly. Well, whatever. Listen, that's fine. This is the time of dodgy facts. So listen, let's just roll with that. It makes me sound better.
Well, it makes you sound better. It makes you look better. It just, you're a beautiful man inside and out, my friend. That's all I can say about that.
Thank you, sir.
Anyways, how are you and your family doing with COVID-19 and everything that's going on with what's going on in the world right now?
Well, like the rest of the world, I miss sports something awful, but I hate to say it in a public forum because it makes me sound insensitive, but I have a 3 and a 5-year-old, and they are completely unaware of anything beyond their immediate little universe, and so I try to look at it through their eyes. They don't know anything bad is going on outside our four walls, and so it really is. I already have said to my wife, we're going to look back on this time and relish all the good quality time we got with the little ones when we had a chance to.
It's unbelievable. It's incredible. And I know ESPN and CBS are all trying to put on all these old basketball games, these old football games, and The Last Dance has been unbelievable, not only for the world to really get to know who the Chicago Bulls are, but it really helps, sports come back. And it's great right now. We watched the NFL virtual draft, which is incredible, which we're going to get into in just 1 second with you. We had Cynthia Freeland, your counterpartner over there at the NFL Network. She was great, and she really spoke highly of the NFL draft and what the NFL did going into this product that everybody was trying to wonder, what are they going to do with this virtual draft? How is this going to make sense? So what are your thoughts with the NFL draft and bringing it to the virtual side of the world?
I'm somebody who shoots his mouth off and then celebrates when I'm right and ignores when I am wrong and hopes the rest of the world forgets any of my bad predictions. But I did say when this all started, I feel like that society has in these last couple of months sort of started to identify things that were important to hold on to. And, through all that's going on, we might learn that some things aren't as essential as we thought they were. And among those things, one, do we all need to go into work every day? Do we need to get into the, especially in big cities and stuff, do we need to sit in the rush hour traffic for an hour or whatever? If you're going from the island into Manhattan, I'm sure you deal with it. I don't know how often you do that, but going from the San Fernando Valley into my job, do you need to do that? And same goes for the draft specifically. My favorite thing, unironically, I always say, if you're near those guys when they're getting drafted, they know better than you do even, that their lives are about to change, their families' lives are about to change for the better, that they're, about to become instant millionaires in the moment that they hear their name called. And I don't think you lost any of that. And in fact, you might make a case that it was improved upon by letting them be in their homes and around just their immediate families and everything. I thought it played just great. I don't know that you need to gather these guys in green rooms and have 3 cameras trained on the little round tables of, with their mother and with their agent. And also it creates that weird moral choice for the player because so often they make the wrong move. Of hugging the agent before they hug their loved one. It's something I have perennially tried to speak with the draft prospects about. Don't make that mistake. Don't hug your agent before your mom, one. And two, if it is Jerry Jones or whomever calling to tell you you've just been drafted, don't pick it up on the first ring. That makes you look better. Wait 2 rings, And then when they ask you, hey, you ready to be a member of the Green Bay Packers? Say don't just be like, yes, sir. Be like, I don't know. What's in it for me? Play a little tough to get, I'd like to see. But anyway, as it was, I thought it was a lot of fun.
Dave, do you think the virtual draft was a big reason because of potential, maybe for technical difficulties, that there weren't a lot of crazy trades, no trades in the top 10, and there weren't a lot of big teams trading extra first-round picks and stuff like that. Is the virtual draft, do you think, the biggest reason for that, or do you think there's another?
That was the people were speculating about that before the draft even started. I don't know. One thing I thought might happen right at the top there was the Skins, informed by what Cliff Kingsbury did last year in dealing away the 10th overall pick in Josh Rosen over to Miami. I thought that the lack of excitement and PR buzz and with the Skins in a market, I should say in a division that has, the Eagles are always great, the Cowboys are always among the most popular, and the Giants are at minimum would appear to be on the rise. The Skins are the lost member of that great division, and I thought maybe they would move on maybe they would see if they could get a taker in Dwayne Haskins and move up to take Tua. I thought that could happen. But I still won't be surprised if Ron Rivera ends up saying, after he gets a good look at Dwayne Haskins, yeah, let's go with the guy who I've been working with and went to a Super Bowl with in Cam Newton. He's available. Let's get him to be our starter in 2020. But anyway, I'm now ruminating on trades and transactions that could have happened that didn't happen. I don't know. Because the story coming out of it was that a lot of GMs and personnel guys said, wait, have we needed to do the countless hours of draft prep that we've always done until this year? Maybe we don't need that going forward. So, I don't know. That seems like a reach to me, to be honest with you, that the teams otherwise decided in their billion-dollar operations were like, it's too hard to figure out on the computer, so let's just skip it. That doesn't seem right. But then again, you heard in draft week when they were doing tests of it that they were busting in the pre-draft little demos that they were doing among the 32 teams. So maybe there is something to that. I'm not sure.
We are talking to NFL analyst Dave Dameshek. Now, Dave, a lot of people were very surprised that CeeDee Lamb was sitting there at 17 and Jerry Jeudy was sitting there at 15. Were you surprised that the Cowboys got, to me, probably the best wide receiver in this year's draft?
Yeah, the short answer is I am surprised. I really, the wild card is funny. Amy Trask, who was a longtime executive with the Raiders, with Al Davis, I immediately thought of her when they didn't go CeeDee Lamb, the Raiders, and they went for CeeDee. I said that is a pick that Al Davis would love. It's just taking the fastest guy. That's the way he liked to operate back in his day, and apparently so too does John Gruden, along with his pal Mike Mayock, and that's what made it so that Lamb fell to the Cowboys. And now all of a sudden, it's interesting when you look at the Cowboys. They're representative of something that I think happens at this time of the year every single year. I would, and by the way, this is a good radio segment, maybe an entire week's worth of content for you guys, is try and identify which teams in 2020 are absolutely, positively not going to make the playoffs. That's a much harder list to put together than the ones that you think definitely will make the playoffs. You can make a case right now, like, don't the Cowboys appear like there's nothing wrong with them, assuming they get Dak and they resolve that. Every team seems like, minus like, say, one or three teams out there, like, well, that team definitely can't make the playoffs. It's such a fun game to play right now because post-draft and free agency, every team feels like, I could see it. I could see that team making a deep playoff run come January. And the Cowboys, when you throw Lamb into the mix of what they already have, man, they just seem loaded. It almost feels unfair.
Dave, is there any pick or fit from the first round that popular consensus liked that you didn't really like in the NFL draft this year?
I feel like off the top of my head, who didn't I love? I think that Justin Herbert maybe wasn't worthy of the 6th overall. I think he ends up being better, though. I always look back to, I always circle and reference the 2011 draft as the cautionary tale for all NFL teams that you don't need to reach to get a quarterback. And yet teams do it every year in not just the first round, but they do it in the top 10 picks. Look at Christian Ponder and Jake Locker. They are the two best examples of, like, what the hell did Christian Ponder go where he went in the 2011 draft? And you look through that, that's the best dozen or so picks you'll ever see. I mean, like, I think 5 or 6 of those guys are still at this point cracking to the Hall of Fame. And sprinkled in there are Christian Ponder and Jake Locker. And you know, CeeDee Lamb, maybe 8-10 years from now, we're having the same conversation about, like, why did the Chargers take Justin Herbert when blank was sitting there, CeeDee Lamb or otherwise? And the Chargers, you know, they could have gone and gotten Cam. I know why they wanted a QB. I'm certain they wanted Tua. They were hoping he would fall. But when he didn't, I feel like that was a little bit of a reach pick to get Justin Herbert when they could have taken maybe Isaiah Simmons or somebody like that who tracks to be in a 21st century kind of defensive star in line with Derwin James. If you drop him onto that Chargers defense, Isaiah Simmons, I think it's an airtight defense, and it zigs to the AFC West fully, the Kansas City Chiefs zag or zilly, zigs to their zag. You're not going to play who's going to score the most points against the Chiefs. You're going to lose that one. But maybe if you can have a dominant defense, that's the way that you can take them down a little bit. So I think that maybe the Chargers should have gone with Isaiah Simmons because he might end up being, Chase Young is probably going to be the best defensive player, but there's a decent chance Isaiah Simmons 5 years from now stands as the best defensive player this side of Chase Young in the 2020 draft.